My life!
You're in, Finn.
I'm in. Having a heart attack here.
I held back in a few bits, just not wanting to make a big mistake, so it's so f***ing tight though, so we'll see. Hopefully that's enough.
Pace wasn't really there all weekend, so it's not through lack of trying, you know. I'm standing up there ready to go just like when I've won races in the past, so I'm doing my best, but it's hard work.
I'm Josh, I work for Norco Factory Racing and I'm a mechanic for Lachie Stevens-McNab.
So I want to get a snapshot of bike setup before practice starts, so base settings like tyre pressure, geometry, suspension settings.
So his tyre pressures, he normally stays 23 front, 26 rear. Unless it gets a little bit wet, you might drop the PSI by 1. Fork pressure, he runs 175 PSI in the fork, then a 504 pound coil in the rear. Head angle 62 degrees, so 62.2. But then, like such as his bar height and things like that, he gets into a position and quite likes to stay in it, so you don't really mess around with that too much. When it gets wet as well, you know, you mess around with spoke tension a bit more to stiffen the spoke tension up quite a lot.
So with the addition of Q1 and Q2, has that changed the approach to racing?
Yeah, it's very hard for him to know how fast to go, sort of thing, like such as last year with qualies and semi-finals and things like that. It was like you'd sort of build on it all the time, but now there's no protected riders, everybody's just going in, you know, like flat out straight away, so it's a bit different. You've sort of got to build your speed up a lot more through practice and maybe he's using time training a bit more to push a bit harder to see what his time's like against other people, and then he bases it off that a little bit, I'm going to say. Well, now he's on the black box stuff, it allows him to have maybe like 3 different setups, you know, for different parts of the track. The tunes are great, yeah, get it proper dialed in for, because all the tracks are so different, things like that, and then different conditions, and just, yeah, helps get it exactly how he wants it.
So, yeah, Leogang is quite a fast track, as was Ludenville. So will you use settings from Race Run Ludenville to start off here, or will you change it?
I presume we'll go to a bit of a middle ground. We won't go to quite as how stiff and how like close his compression was in Ludenville, but it'll be stiffer than it was in Poland, I'm going to say. Just a bit of a middle ground to start off with, and then still got to work that out.
So Danny Hart, tell us about your setup this year. How's it going for you?
Yes, it's going very well. I was a bit limited on time on my bike because I got hurt in the off season, but the setup's good, constantly changing. So yeah, I'm loving it. So we've got the Norco downhill sled here. Not sure what the model is. Anyone? Sorry, it's got a code word for a model. NB-111. You can try and figure out what that means in the comments. Greg Minar is obviously very hands on deck with us, like working super hard on trying to get the bike right. And he, watching from the sidelines, has a lot of input. And yeah, it's brilliant.
So this is a size 3.7 frame, so it's between a 3 and a 4. All the riders are on their own size. He's on a 45mm stem, and his fork, he has 85 PSI with 4 volume spacers, 7 low speed rebound, 5 high speed rebound, although we do move that around a little bit depending on where he is, 5 high speed compression, 7 low speed compression. Geometry we tend to stay fairly consistent on, maybe a bit under the bars, but probably not for this track honestly. We've got a few changes on the bike we can make to the kinematic, and we can move the idler position, so those things we sometimes use as tuning options. And tyre pressures, again, it works within a range. Everyone has a sort of base settings range that we kind of work between, and we just work off that really.
And do you let the track dictate the settings, or do you go on, like, does the rider decide what to change?
It's a sort of 3-way thing. There's what we think the rider should be on, what the rider wants to ride, and how the track develops. Obviously what the rider wants needs to be able to ride the bike they want, so their opinion is really important, but sometimes they're not certain, so we have to guide them a little bit. It's generally a feedback. We try and see if there's anything in the data that we strap on the bike to back up the feedback, or anything obvious that's out of the sort of window we want it to be in. And we don't necessarily make a change every run. Some runs need bigger changes. Sometimes if there's a lack of feel or he's not quite sure which direction to go, we'll make a big change in one direction to be sure that it's right or wrong. And then that sort of brackets and we can work to the middle after that.
Does the introduction of Q1 and Q2 change tactics? Is there tactics now for how to get through? I mean, or is it just balls out?
I think for the riders that have been protected for years and years, it's definitely they've got to ride in a different way in Q1 to maybe what they did in qualifying previously. And that's going to take a bit more adapting for some people than others. But I wouldn't say we have a tactic. You know, I think if you can't really go slow these days if you want to get any kind of decent result. You know, they have to ride fast in every timed run. So the tactic is just to ride fast, I think, and try and build. You know, if you put a real good run down in time training, for example, then you can keep building off that in every other timed run.
Okay, I'm Kevin Joly, Finn Iles mechanic from 10 years ago. Yeah, so for tire pressure, we've been running all around like 24 front, 26 psi on the back. It's more or less like the target we are all season. Regarding the geo, we've been doing several testing, trying to match all the World Cup venues. So we have a specific one for this one as well, as we had for Loudanvielle and all the other race. So we're gonna start with this one, see how it goes, and we have quite a few options to adjust in case of. And it's the same with suspension. We've been testing, we've been having feedback on like similar track as Leogang, so we're gonna turn around this and just follow the direction of what Finn feel about the bike and what he really need from the bike to help him to go faster. And then yeah, if it's raining, we're gonna change. We're gonna go back to something that we know under the rain as well. So it's a mishmash of all the winter testing we've been doing this season.
So as the track changes, whether it gets faster and drier or slower and wetter, you have a setting to go to?
Yeah, exactly. We have like a kind of a mud setting, and after it all depends like how much the track develop, if it's getting rougher, if the track stay clean. So all the details from the track like help me to set this bike up like properly. But like regarding what you really need to be fast. Yeah, well, he really like a certain balance on the bike, and obviously he's an aggressive rider, so his suspension are pretty stiff. But he like them like really sensitive, but like with a big ramp also. So yeah, it's sometimes challenging to deliver him what he's really looking for. That technology from Hollins is really good. He allowed us to do a lot of different configuration which help us perform. And yeah, that's it. It's a new era of suspension, which we are really proud of. And Hollins is really involved with us about getting the thing as we really want them to be. So I think that's a really positive point.
So with Q1 and Q2 now, does that change your preparation and tactics for trying to get to finals? What's the approach?
Yeah, it's been weird since the beginning of the season. Obviously, our goal is to reach the top of the overall, so you need to score points no matter what. But it's definitely challenging. It's definitely different. Somehow, there is a lot of top rider in Q2 every race so far. So it's been really interesting, and we try to make our way into those ones. But yeah, it's still something that we need to get used to it and to try to see if there is anything we can do to have a better week. But for sure, when you pass in Q1, it's way more chill for the rider, because Q2 is a big thing. It's just one more run, but it just changes your complete day. And in terms of energy for the athlete, it's a lot of energy lost for just one run.
Our idea was to start with the bike setup that we had in Loudanvielle, which was insane, because it was like there's so much compression in Loudanvielle because there's so many big, huge, fast corners. You have to pump and be dynamic and everything. Versus here, it's like on the brakes, off the brakes, trying to be dynamic over like little holes rather than huge holes, and like picking up and putting down and all these different things. And I felt like with that setting, the bike was riding really high, so we softened the shock but then the fork was riding kind of like this, and then we dropped the fork, and then too much, so then we had to try and find a happy medium, and we finally figured it out on the last run of time training, or second last run. We were like getting better, and then we kind of found the direction that we want for tomorrow. It was a bit of a puzzle. Like this morning I felt like I was like, am I slow, or just like I can't ride a bike all of a sudden this weekend? And then we figured it out, and I had a few good runs, but I think it's shaping up to be like the bike's heading in the right direction, the track's getting better, track's getting faster, and I think that just will mean better day tomorrow.
Go on, Ronnie.
I like it a bit better than last week. You're not going like f***ing 50 k's an hour the whole time. But no, it's good. It's actually really rough. So I've been struggling with just having my bike too soft, to be honest. But we're getting better as the day goes on, and just try to be better tomorrow as well. I think I tried to do a full run that last one, and got red flagged. But first split was a lot better than I thought. Well, after we made a couple changes, you know, I felt I was riding a bit better and could actually attack stuff when it got rough, because it's getting pretty rough.
So what changes did you make?
It's just really stiffening everything up, and a few things with the suspension, making it ramp up a bit more, while making my fork ramp up a bit more, and then I've changed my main pivot position. I started low last week, gone to middle, it was better, and then I'm into high now, so we're back close to what the old bike was. Tomorrow morning we'll make sure to have a good couple laps and then put a good one down for quali, because I don't want to go to Q2 again.
It's quali day, Friday. It's 8:28 in the morning. Just waiting for the riders to arrive at the moment. Yeah, so we did make a few changes here and there. Just searching for that quick setup, just trying to get him fired out of the berms, trying to get the bike ready, kind of firing him out. Like, it was great on the straights, but then on the corners, it just wasn't really like propelling him out of the corners quite the way we'd like it to. Like, the fork's been brilliant. Yeah, well, the shocks with Fox at the moment, they're just servicing it, and yeah, we've played around with the high-speed rebound, and I think that might be the ticket.
You know, I leave Danny and the engineers to set up the bike through the race day, and obviously I give a bit of input if I see something happening on track, when I'm up on track. We've been trying to just get the rear end of his bike a bit stiffer, and we've got a great engineering team, so they've actually come up with some different ways that we can just get a little bit more rigidity out of the rear end. So it's a work in progress, and but it's cool to see the process, and you know, times are so tight now. I think it was in Loonville we had like 3.4 seconds, you had 20 riders. So it's real close. So, you know, we need these marginal gains to help them, support them, get up into the top 10.
So qualifying today, what's your plan of attack?
I'll just go in Q1 and go as fast as I can, and from the start you can't build into it or anything like that. You've just got to go like the clappers from the outset.
One of those riders that is fearing that Q2. He finished.
It was pretty good, like a couple little mistakes, but yeah, like it's just hard. It was pretty decent, to be honest. I held back in a few bits, just not wanting to make a big mistake. So it's so f***ing tight though. So we'll see. Hopefully that's enough to f***ing get me through.
Two guys, big names, Dakota Norton and Danny Hart. Danny Hart? Yep. We're still waiting for Danny to come here, Dan. Yep. 7th place.
How are you feeling at the minute?
Oh, a bit gutted. It's the first time I've missed it this year, which sucks, but pace wasn't really there all weekend, so it's not through lack of trying, you know. I'm standing up there ready to go, just like when I've won races in the past, so I'm doing my best, but it's hard work. Obviously I wasn't on pace the whole way down, but my worst sectors were the final two, which should be my bread and butter really, but it clearly hasn't been, so Yeah, the speed just wasn't there, so we'll move on. I haven't really got much to say. Everyone's working so hard, like Tom, the engineer there, every lap. How does it feel? How does it feel? And I'm not the best with the feedback, so that's hard for them from their side working for me. So, but I do appreciate everything that everyone's doing and trying to get us back going. So, thanks everyone.
9, and this is Iles. He goes into second place, but that will suffice probably for Finn to make it over the line here. But it's only behind by 32 thousandths of a second.
Wow, the times are insane. So I've made it, for sure. My life, dude.
You're in, Finn.
I'm in. Having a heart attack here on these races. Man, I don't know what happened compared to last year, but last year, qualifying I think was 3 seconds within the top like 5. And it was like 6 seconds to 20th. So everybody is so fast. And if you have the wrong mentality going into Q1, I'd say your goose is cooked. It's really stressful, man. You're like, it's turned qualifying day, which used to be like kind of enjoyable. Like you'd be like, oh, I'm riding sick, this is really fun, and you're not like stressed out about it, to like making it actually really important and really stressful. And you like, I think it's so cool because it evens the playing field. Like last year I'd go into qualifying day, I'd be like, peace, like this is so chill because I'm protected, qualifying and semifinal. And now with just Q1, Q2, and you have to deliver, it's incredible. Like the feeling I have now is insane. I feel like I could, you know, it's like this adrenaline rush where you're like, okay, I had to do it, I stood there, I delivered, I did it, I'm in. Maybe I didn't win it, but you're there. And I think it just makes that everybody pushes so hard on qualifying day, so it makes it way more exciting. Q2, super exciting. And then you get to race day and everybody's like top of the game, and I think it makes the racing tighter, makes the racing better, and it makes, you know, gives guys who maybe last year didn't have a chance, way more of a chance to get in. And you can see by these times, everybody is at such a high level right now, and it's just fucking awesome to see in the sport. Q2 is like, you finish and it's like a
time here. He's 1800ths of a second off at split number 1. It's been a very frustrating start for the powerful Canadian. Can he bring it together, put it together today, and into 5th place?
You have to show up and you have to be ready, and if you're not, you're out the ass. And I mean, I didn't ride terrible. I thought that everything was there mentally. I was like prepared. I was on it at the start gate, and like I made 2 mistakes in the bottom woods, and I'm out the ass, like 4.5 seconds or whatever. But you know, this year that puts you into 25th or whatever I was, which is just horrific. But just haven't had enough time on the bike this year, and dealing with an injury in the off season. I think I've had maybe like less than 20 days since Mont Saint Anne on a downhill bike, and I'm paying the price now. And it's like one of those things where I don't know the limits of anything. And even in racing, it's like I thought I was sweet, feeling good, and you come to racing, and it's just such a rude awakening. And I want to expect more from myself, but it's a bit of an uphill battle right now. So hopefully I can spend a bit of time on the bike this week. I just think the way that the start of this season has been for me has just been really difficult, and the timing of the injury just sucked and just put me on the back foot. And this year, if you're on the back foot, it's not like, oh, I lost 4 seconds, I can go into 10th. It's like, I lost 4 seconds, I'm like in the fucking rafters, you know? And if I don't prepare the way that I know that I need to prepare, I'm never gonna have that feeling that I need. Like there's that feeling you get and you're like, oh yeah, I got it. And I don't feel like I've had it quite yet this year. And at these races, it's like within 7 runs, you have to be almost at race pace for qualifying. It's just this level that is just a little bit higher, and the days that I had on the bike, I'm just not there. And I need to figure out how I can find those little pieces to like grow, so that when I come to Worlds or come to Leger, and then to Worlds, and then to Lenzerheide, and then to Lake Placid, Mont Saint Anne, I'm ready to compete for the top step, because right now it's a bit of a battle. You want a jersey that says Finn on it?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
I hope you're getting into mood again.
Yeah, we are. It's just.
We were just listening.
Yeah.
I hope you're gonna do.
We will, but it's a bit slow this year. It's frustrating, but I'll figure it out.
Lachie is having a stellar run. 8/10 of a second up. Look at his feet. 66. He's going full gas, Didi. Yes, is it the lead? It is. Yes!
Yeah, it ended up pretty good. Anytime you put it in the top 5, for me, it's a great day. So, no, I'm stoked. You forget how rough the World Cup tracks get. So it's just all off season at home. You know, the dirt's soft. It's the best dirt ever, but it's just I had the bike set up too soft, and we ran into that problem last week, and we got it better, and then obviously our weekend ended early, and then so we come here and we kind of were facing the same problems, but by the time race run came around, the bike was good. So now I think we're in a good spot to have a week off and work on it more, and then be good for Val d'Isole. With how tight the times are, I honestly wasn't too sure. When I got knocked into 4th, I was like, maybe I was going to be on the wrong side of that second, you know, and end up in 10th. So I'm not too sure how tight it was after me, but I think it was tight. So yeah, definitely good confidence booster, and looking forward to the next one. And Val d'Isole's a good one, bit of a gnarly track, and so I think there's a bit more time to be made compared to just the motorway the whole way, pretty much. So no, I'm happy to end the weekend like this and get some good points.
Thank you.